Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the live server and we're having a look at Gadgen's birthday sale. Basically, we're having a look at the aircraft which I think are the best picks for this sale. I gotta be honest, with the aviation side of this sale, there isn't a ton of offers that actually really are interesting, but this is the top 5 in my opinion that you can pick up from it. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Let's get started. The first vehicle we're having a look at is the F5C. This is an American rank 7, battery rating 10.7 vehicle. And basically the F5C is one of those which has been around for an incredibly long time, and it is a really, really powerful vehicle. All of the F5s are really good. If you've ever played them, you will know how powerful these are. Basically, the only difference between the earlier F5s and the later F5s is mainly the engines, whereas the F5C and A have weaker engines, whereas the E has stronger ones. There's a few other little things, but in terms of the game mode that you play in these, which is the air game mode, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the F5C to, be drastically different in BR. So this vehicle has access to AIM-9Es. AIM-9Es are not the strongest missiles at these BR, but they don't have to be because this vehicle has insanely strong guns. It has these 20mm M39A2s. They have a ridiculous amount of ammo in tow, and once you hit a jet with these guns, it's pretty much out of action since it loses so much energy even just from the standard damage. This vehicle also is highly maneuverable and has enough engine power to be able to reset and just be able to float around and dogfight with everything. I recently spaded the F5A, which was in the Japanese tech tree after spading the F5Es, the F5As, and the NF5A, and many other F5s, and they all feel very nice to generally play. One of the things that's also really good about the vehicle is you have 60 countermeasures, which means that you can defend against any IR missile that's kind of coming in. The other thing to also mention is even though this thing has 2 engines with quite a lot of afterburner thrust, it has a really low heat signature. So actually locking missiles onto this thing is a little bit hard to do. And on top of that, the countermeasures are highly effective against the missiles themselves. So I actually think this vehicle works extremely well as a premium. It's a good way of getting into the missile era of jets. It's a good way of kind of learning the ropes, and also just has really high rewards, which also help you out quite a lot. So we talked about how the F5 is a really, really good kind of starter jet to get you into that IR area, to get you into the countermeasures and also the semi-actives and learning all those mechanics. The F-18C early is a vehicle that once you have mastered those mechanics and understand how they work, you can just be insane when it comes to this vehicle. The vehicle has access to some really powerful semi-active setups. You have the AIM-7Ps, which are some of the best semi-actives in the game. You also have AIM-9Ls, which also are fantastic, the all-aspect IR missiles. And then on top of it, for ground, you have a ridiculous amount of different options too, including the big guided bombs. You also have access to all of the Mavericks that you want, and a lot of other options too. So this vehicle pretty much has everything in terms of armaments that you would ever want, and all of the different mechanics. The problem the F-18C has is simple. It is complicated, and if you are a new player and you are looking to get into jets and you're looking to get through the tech trees quickly, this is a bad purchase because it has so many different mechanics and you have to learn them. Now, what's cool about it is nowadays you can actually test and also do some kind of like training missions to be able to help you understand the mechanics, but just understand that even then you're going to go up against people who are very, very, very understanding of all of these. You have a great radar, you have a great RWR, you have all of the different CCIPs and everything you'd ever want, and also, of course, the 20mm M61. This is an amazing vehicle. It's a fantastic vehicle if you know all the mechanics, and that is the main part of it. It has all of the bells and whistles you would ever want from a 12.7. It stays out of the top tier matchmaking and also can have a great time, but just be careful because of the mechanics. The Netz also makes the list, but not for its air performance. Its air performance is fine. As somebody who has spaded the F-16A, the Netz is generally in a decent position because it has all the Pythons or the AIM-9Ls. The problem is none of these are IRCCM missiles, and that's pretty much the standard at the BRs that it's at. And also, at the same time, the other part is it's a bit higher BR because of the Pythons, which I don't think really should put it up in BR. This area is very much dominated by semi-actives, so if you're a very good dogfight player, understand multipathing, and also understand, how to basically play from that defensive setup, you can have a really, really good time with this because you have a ton of countermeasures, and also you have a ton of speed and a ton of maneuverability, and also very good short-range IR missiles. But if you want to play the proper meta, which is more semi-active heavy, and like that, you should probably have a look at another vehicle. The reason to actually pick this up, though, is the ground ordnance. This vehicle has a bunch of really good ground ordnance options, including Mavericks at the BR that it's at, meaning that you can bring a nice air-to-air ordnance setup and also air-to-ground ordnance setup for your high echelon Israeli stuff. And it's at 12.0, meaning that you don't have to play the highest BR. You don't always have to go up against the good old AAs, so generally it can work very good. The only other problem with it is, the other thing about it is it can grind through the whole of the Israeli tech tree, which is really nice, because there are some bright sparks of the Israeli tech tree. The Ayit is okay, the Kernas is pretty good, but a lot of it is just either copy-paste stuff or just things that are just very weak vehicles around here. But once you get to the higher tiers, there's a lot of really nice stuff, so that can be something that it's worth doing. The Mirage F1C-200 is also a pretty interesting pick. For me personally, this has some of the best missiles in the game with the Magic 2s that it gets access to. Basically, these it has Magic 1s, but the major ones you want to look at is this kind of loadout here. So the Magic 2s have IRCCM, they have all aspect, and they're basically just missiles that will just annihilate everything. It's very hard to get them off once they've actually locked onto you. The vehicle also has some R530Fs. It has also the R530 or 530E, which is the big old IR missile, which I really enjoy just because it's a little bit silly. You can fire it from further out and kind of catch people out. And then also you do have some ground ordnance, but the main reason you play this thing is because you run a loadout which is very similar to this, where you have the 530Fs and then also the Magic 2s. Now, this vehicle is very much a missile bus. It's something where you turn up, you fire the Magic 2s, you hit things with it, and then you basically go back to base. The radar's a little bit funky for the BR. A lot of people are running around with much better radars than this thing. But the thing is, it also gets a ton of countermeasures, meaning that you can kind of set up the battle very well. It's very fast, it has a lot of missiles, and then also at the same time has countermeasures to get you in and out of dodge. It does also have some defers which are attached to it too, but the main thing is if you're able to get those 530Fs rolling, then this vehicle can be really, really good. But with the radar that it has access to, it's not always the easiest thing to do. But if you are one of those people, you can have a great time with it. So that is kind of the key to this. Can you unlock the Serrano 4 or can you not? The last vehicle is the Su-25K. This is exactly the same as the standard Tech Tree Su-25, apart from it has half the amount of countermeasures. Still has 128, so has plenty of countermeasures to bring along. This vehicle has R60MKs, which are export R60Ms. These are all-aspect IR missiles with very good maneuverability. If you ever run into anything that has access to no countermeasures, which is quite a lot at the BR that it's at 10.3 in air, then what ends up happening is they just die. And in ground forces, which is where I'm actually more recommending this thing, it actually has access to either the S-24Bs, which are pretty stupid. It has the S-250s, which are very stupid because they just overpressure everything. And then also you have the 130Fs, or you even have the S5Ks. So this vehicle has a very good CCIP. It has a million countermeasures, which work very well for it. And also just gets really annoying rockets that if you know how to aim and if you know the distance that they kind of converge on, then you can just annihilate anything that's there. These vehicles also are incredibly tanky. They're slightly less tanky now because they actually updated the model of them, but they're still very tanky for what they are. And going in, hammering, and just hitting stuff is just kind of nuts. There is also a lot of powerful vehicles around 10.0, 10.3 or USSR ground that you can run this with in tandem to S38, to T80UD, the Terms, even the T72s. All of these vehicles work really well with the Su-25 as a CAS option on top of kind of the helicopters you have and also the standard tech tree stuff. So if you don't have the Russian tech tree ground out and you don't have the standard Su-25, I do recommend this one. If you do have it ground out, there's not really much point of this one, is there? So that is a bit of a problem. So as you can see, it's pretty slim pickings. The other vehicles kind of had fundamental issues with them right now. So yeah, maybe in December we will have a better sale. Who knows? As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.